Hello and welcome. Before we begin, I'd like you to imagine something. Imagine arriving in a place where nothing seems to rush. A place where evenings stretch a little longer, where the wind carries the scent of fresh bread and wildflowers, and where even the ticking of an old clock seems softer than anywhere else. Imagine a house that has quietly watched the seasons come and go for longer than anyone can remember. A house where silence is never lonely, and where time itself seems to walk a little more slowly. Tonight's story is called The House Where Time Walked Slowly. So, get comfortable. Settle into your favorite place. Take a slow, gentle breath, and let the rest of the day drift away. Now, our story begins. The House Where Time Walked Slowly. By the time the last train disappeared behind the hills, the little village had already settled into its evening rhythm. The streets were never busy here, but at this hour they became wonderfully quiet. The bakery had closed its blue-painted door. The flower shop had carried its wooden display inside. A bicycle rested against an old stone wall, exactly where its owner had left it that morning. Nothing seemed in a hurry. A cool breeze wandered through the narrow streets, carrying the scent of lavender, pine trees, and bread that had only recently come from the oven. At the very end of the village stood a small stone house with ivy climbing gently across its walls. The windows glowed with a soft amber light. Inside, everything felt warm. A kettle rested on the stove, quietly humming as the water slowly reached a boil. Nearby, a worn wooden table held an open book, a knitted blanket, and a small ceramic cup waiting patiently for tea. The house belonged to a woman named Clara. She had lived there for many years. No one could remember exactly how long, and somehow it didn't matter. Her days were simple. She liked simple things, opening the windows each morning, listening to birds before speaking her first words of the day, watching the changing colors of the hills as the seasons quietly passed. Some evenings she would read. Other evenings she would simply sit by the window and watch the world grow darker, one shade at a time. Tonight felt like one of those evenings. Clara filled the teapot with fresh mint leaves from the small garden behind the house. The leaves still carried tiny drops of water from the afternoon rain. She poured the hot water slowly. Steam curled gently into the air. The fresh scent of mint mixed with cedar wood from the old bookshelves and the faint sweetness of beeswax candles. Outside, somewhere beyond the garden fence, a blackbird sang one last song before night settled across the valley. Clara wrapped both hands around the warm cup. She wasn't cold. She simply enjoyed the quiet comfort of holding something warm. The old wooden clock in the hallway marked another minute with a soft, patient tick. Tick, pause, tick. Its rhythm had become part of the house itself. Visitors sometimes noticed it immediately. Clara hardly heard it anymore. Like the whisper of the wind through the chimney, or the creak of the floorboards, it belonged to the gentle language of the house. She carried her tea onto the back porch. The rain had ended only an hour earlier. Every leaf shimmered beneath the fading light. The stone path through the garden reflected the evening sky in tiny puddles. Somewhere nearby, water continued to drip slowly from the branches of an old apple tree. One drop, then another, then silence. The valley below was wrapped in soft blue shadows. Mist drifted lazily above the fields. Far away, tiny lights appeared one after another in the windows of distant cottages. None of them seemed bright. They glowed gently, as though every family had agreed that evening should always arrive softly. Clara took a slow sip of her tea. Warmth spread through her hands before it reached the rest of her body. She smiled, not because anything remarkable had happened, but because nothing needed to happen at all. The evening was complete, exactly as it was. The breeze became quieter. The birds settled into the trees. Even the village cat, who often wandered between gardens, searching for comfortable places to sleep, curled into a patch of dry grass beneath a wooden bench. Everywhere, the world seemed to be choosing rest. Clara remained on the porch for a long while, not thinking, not planning tomorrow, simply listening. The rustling leaves, the distant sound of an owl waking somewhere in the forest, the slow breathing of the wind across the hills. It was enough. It had always been enough.